During one of the recent founder masterminds that I organized, one of the founders brought up a very interesting point, which was how this project called PACMOON was able to orchestrate and roll out one of the most successful airdrop marketing campaign that web3 has ever seen. He said that through this campaign, PACMOON was able to acquire millions of impressions on social media, get millions of visits on their website entirely for free. And although I agreed with most of what that founder said, what I didn't agree with is the free part. This is the interesting part about what we are starting to see through airdrop marketing. In Web2 marketing,
what you would typically do is you would spend money upfront
to try to acquire a customer. So you spend money upfront on the different marketing channels, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram ads, to then acquire a customer. In Web3, what we are starting to see is through airdrop marketing is customers are entering and engaging within your ecosystem. And only then are they being rewarded with the reward, which is the acquisition cost. PACMOON, if you don't know, what they did is they did a campaign where they incentivized people to create high quality content about the ecosystem, about the project on social media. And whenever that piece of content was qualified to receive the airdrop, they got points that they could track on a website. And these points could eventually get redeemed for PACMOON token when the airdrop was to be live. That money, that airdrop that was sent to all the wallets that engaged with the ecosystem, this money didn't come out of thin air. Someone had to spend it. The only difference is the acquisition cost, where the airdrop campaigns tends to be after the acquisition of the customer, not before, like we have seen in Web2. And this, ladies and gentlemen, this new type of marketing that we are seeing is a new innovation that Web3 is currently experiencing with airdrop marketing. And that is the new marketing acquisition strategy that a lot of brands are opting to deploy to create millions of customers within their ecosystem. And what I'm going to be showing you today are the two events that brands seem to be optimizing for when rolling out airdrop campaigns. You're going to be seeing different examples of different brands that rolled out the campaign to different levels of success. And then I'm going to be sharing with you the different risks and benefits that could come from an airdrop campaign. And by the way, if this is the first time we meet, my name is Leon Aboud. And through my growth marketing firm, unfungible.xyz, we help brands launch, scale their brand authority and presence in Web3. And all the videos I make for you today are based on my experience having helped generate over $40 million just this year alone in 2024 to the different clients that we work with to different extents, obviously. And everything I share with you is everything I know to the extent of my experience. There is nothing that is paywall gated behind the Stripe link that you need to pay to get access to. These are all the secrets that I am exposed to and all the strategies that I am observing across the different clients that we work with or observations that I have within the industry. So my goal for you is to take all the knowledge that I'm creating for you, apply that within your business, scale that, and eventually come apply to work with us at unfungible.xyz. Now, let's talk about the two different types of optimization events that we are seeing with the airdrop campaigns. So far, the two types of different optimization events that we have seen airdrop campaigns successfully roll out are the following.
The first one are awareness campaigns.
And the second one right here is user
acquisition
campaigns. And I'm going to be giving you 4 different examples of brands that were able to roll these out. But before we do, first start with the definitions. With awareness campaigns, what the brands that we have here were optimizing for is to generate awareness and to build brand recognition, name recognition within the Web3 ecosystem. So the optimization event was how can we get as much awareness? So the objective with this was how do we get as many people knowing about us, looking at our website, joining our social media, talking about us. It was geared towards optimization. It was geared to optimize for awareness, top of mind awareness, brand recognition, and embedding the actual brand within Web3 culture. The second type of optimization event, which is user acquisition campaigns, are campaigns designed to get people to enroll in the ecosystem, engage in the ecosystem, trade on specific chains, pretty much become buying, paying and active customers of an actual product, with that product oftentimes being either a crypto chain, a protocol, or a platform, aka, or marketplaces, whatever that looks like for you and your ecosystem. And the first of these examples that I have right here for you under the awareness generation campaign
is PortalCoin.
Portal is arguably the first mass scale social farming campaign that Web3 has ever seen. What they did is they were the first to create a system where any and all mentions of PortalCoin were to be rewarded with points, which would then be awarded into airdrop. And what they had was a leaderboard and people could go check how many points they had. They were pretty much the first to make it into the masses. I remember there was a time, it was in January, February, literally my timeline was flooded. Everyone was speaking about Portal. We started seeing Portal farmers, aka people creating groups together and just spamming Portal on the timeline just to get the impressions and to get the likes and to get the comments. And this campaign clearly worked. Portal currently has a $150 million market cap according to CoinMarketCap. So the campaign as it was incredibly successful. Big shout out to Mickey and the Arcadia team for pulling off such a incredible campaign. But there were a couple cons that started to happen with the PortalCoin airdrop. The first one was farming. All of a sudden, what people started doing was creating very low quality content just to get impressions. They were pretty much farming for impressions. And what this did is it reduced the quality of the timeline according to a lot of people, and it gave a bad rep for the entire farming ecosystem because all of a sudden it was starting to be seen as shilly and spammy. But because Portal was the first to innovate on the social farming model, they were able to reap all the benefits that came with being first. The second con that came with the PortalCoin model is that anyone and everyone who spoke about Portal was entitled to receive some form of airdrop. If you are to draw a beautiful pie right here with, these are all the tokens allocated. Typically what a token is gonna do is it's gonna allocate a specific percentage of tokens to the airdrop. I don't have the exact numbers. Let's assume Portal was 25%. All of a sudden, this 25% chunk of the pie is going to get divided between hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that engaged with the campaign. And this has led some people to receive airdrops that were almost banal. And although I didn't hear this concern from PortalCoin itself, I heard this during a call that I had with another project that had an incredibly successful farming campaign that looked very similar to that of Portal. They told me that they had a very small percentage of airdrop allocated to the airdrop campaign, like a 1-digit percentage. And that was locked in before the campaign even rolled out. But the campaign turned out to be so successful, so they had to divide such a small chunk of the airdrop to so many people. And although they tried to filter some people out, at the end of the day, you can only divide a small piece of the pie between so many people. So that became one of the cons that this type of airdrop farming that Portal rolled out, that became one of the cons. Now this is where our second example, which is going back to PACMOON. PACMOON saw what Portal were able to do and they innovated on the actual model. And in the context of Portal, anyone and everyone who created content about Portal was entitled to airdrop. What PACMOON did is they did the complete opposite. Only the people that were to create high quality marketing content about PACMOON were entitled for airdrop. And the way you would know that you were entitled to receive airdrop was if the actual PACMOON account was to like your tweet. So what ended up happening was the type of content quality that was being created about PACMOON was one that was a lot higher. On my feed, you could see people trying to integrate the PACMOON IP, the little yellow blob, trying to put that in their day-to-day picture, someone having breakfast, someone with their girlfriend and family with the PACMOON face. So all of a sudden, the quality increased. PACMOON as a brand took up more of a human brand and became a lot less shilly, a lot less spammy, and all of a sudden had a much cleaner branding that people could resonate with. And what was really fascinating and really innovative about the approach that PACMOON were able to build. Let's say we were to draw a spectrum of all the marketing content that was created about PACMOON. Millions and millions and millions and millions of impressions created. Only Beeple made one tweet about PACMOON that got 500,000 impressions. So imagine, what was the innovative part about this is only the top, let's assume 5% of content were entitled to receive that airdrop because this is content that was deemed high quality according to the criteria of the people actually judging the content. So all the rest of the 95% of the content that was created and was still generating eyeballs and impressions and attention were not qualified to receive the airdrop campaign. So what this did, if we are to go to the chart, we still had a percentage of airdrop that was allocated to the ecosystem. However, PACMOON got more bang for its buck because it did not approve everyone. People were creating content, people were generating impressions, but perhaps most of those impressions did not qualify. And they were very selective with who they actually ended up approving to become part of the ecosystem. And this is how PACMOON was able to roll out a very successful marketing campaign. And the token price is actually incredibly healthy right now. As we speak, the PACMOON token is up. And the community so far is incredibly happy, incredibly healthy, and the brand seems to have longevity because they were able to innovate on the original farming meta. And this, by the way, only happened in a couple weeks separation. So it shows you the pace of innovation that we are seeing in the industry. I'm sure someone else is going to come in a couple weeks and create an innovation and adapt the new PACMOON marketing strategy to their project in a new creative and organic way. So these are the two examples that we have for the awareness generation campaign, PortalCoin and PACMOON. Now let's speak about the second type of optimization event that we have seen with airdrop farming. The first of these examples is the Blur marketplace. If you haven't heard, Blur came out of nowhere and started taking up market share away from OpenSea, chipping market share away, slow and steady. They have become the dominant marketplace for all things Ethereum NFTs. And the reason they were able to do this was through their airdrop campaign. And in their case, what they did is they incentivized trading on their platform. The more you traded on the platform, the more points you collected, the bigger the airdrop you were going to receive once the Blur token was to be live. So what Blur was optimizing for was the acquisition of customers within the ecosystem, acquiring actual users that would stay and linger beyond even the usage of Blur. Because as I'm going to be showing you a little bit later, Blur actually happens to have a very good product. The product that Blur came in, they were able to position themselves in the marketplace as a tool for traders, while OpenSea was a tool geared more towards collectors or normies, people that are not very web3 savvy. But Blur built a very advanced tool with a great interface that is very detailed. So they actually had a very good product. And I myself, for example, although I never tried to farm the Blur token, whenever I buy NFTs today, I no longer buy on OpenSea, I only buy through Blur, because of the superior platform that Blur has compared to what is already out there on the ecosystem. And why this is really interesting is because through the airdrop campaign, Blur was able to quickly acquire tens of thousands of users into its platform that were anticipating for the airdrop, and many of whom will remain users of Blur even post the airdrop. So you see how Blur was able to acquire customers upfront
and then reward them
with the airdrop campaign once it went live. And one thing I'll guarantee you, even after the airdrop campaign is over, Blur is still going to hold relevance and is still going to hold weight within the NFT space because they are constantly evolving and constantly coming up with new products and new ways of facilitating trading in the NFT space. And finally, the fourth example of a successful airdrop campaign geared for user acquisition is Blast. If you don't know, Blast is a new L2 ecosystem. And the way they incentivized acquiring users for the airdrop was in two ways. Number one, it was by bridging your ETH. If you are to bridge, so they allocated 50% of all airdrop for people who bridged their ETH onto Blast. So they had bridged ETH on Blast. And the second way they incentivized people was through interacting with the ecosystem. If you were to use any of the apps, any of the marketplaces that were built on Blast, they would be able to redeem airdrop points. And this is the two very interesting things, especially the second one. By incentivizing users on the platform, what it ended up doing is it ended up attracting users, but it also, most importantly, ended up attracting builders within the ecosystem. Because what is the use of an ecosystem that has a lot of users but no products? You just have a meme coin at this point. But an ecosystem that has strong products that are being built on. And what this ended up doing is Blur, for example, now has a Blast. You can trade Blast NFTs on Blur. PACMOON, right here, is built on Blast. And you can see how Blast, through a very successful airdrop campaign, and of course a very good product and a very good chain, were able to attract both users onto its ecosystem as well as builders to come in and build on its marketplace. And just to give you a small statistic by The Block.
So far, over $2.3 billion
worth of Ethereum were bridged to Blast so far. So this proves to show the success of this campaign that Blast had. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now that we understand what are the different types of airdrops, what they look like, and what are some examples of brands that have done it, what are the pros and cons of launching an airdrop campaign? Because as you can imagine, airdropping your customers hundreds of thousands of dollars, even sometimes millions of dollars, comes at a cost. It is costly to do this. And this money has to come from somewhere, oftentimes from your own pockets. And this is what we have seen so far. Here's a different equation of what a potential airdrop campaign could look like. So we have right here bad airdrop plus a good product. What does that create? That creates a PR nightmare. So a bad airdrop, meaning either a bad execution of your airdrop campaign or not incentivizing the users enough, users receiving dollars or pennies, all of a sudden this is a bad airdrop. And what a bad airdrop does is it leaves a sour taste on your customer's mouth because they took time, they engaged with your brand, they bridged their Ethereum, they trusted that their attention and money would be better used with you than just holding on or investing in other opportunities. So a bad airdrop with a good product is a PR nightmare because all of a sudden you have a horde of thousands of angry customers that were disappointed by your rollout that you all of a sudden have to reconvert or reconcile with. Then we have
a good airdrop plus
a bad product. Surprisingly, what I'm gonna say is not what you're gonna expect. Here is extra leeway to build. So what do I mean by this? We've seen this in Web3. Customers tend to be patient with founders, especially when they make money. When the floor price of NFT goes up, people are like, okay, we trust in the founder. Do what you need to do. We believe in you. So right here with a good airdrop campaign, this buys you time and it buys you the support to continue improving on the product. But as you may know, attention in Web3 is fleeting. Just like the wind blowing a leaf away, it is only a matter of time until the goodwill and the attention you have built with the people that received your airdrop just fades away and they move on to the next opportunity. However, a good airdrop will leave a good impression about your brand, your ecosystem, and your name with your different customers. And they will be willing to give you extra time and extra leeway to continue building your product, improving your ecosystem, and improving your chain. So extra leeway. Right here, bad airdrop plus bad product. Right here, you're toast. So you're pretty much toast. What you're gonna have to do, you've given people a bad airdrop and people have tested your ecosystem and it's terrible. People will just not come back naturally just because you have a good product. For example, Blur, what they had was a good airdrop plus a good product.
and this is what you want.
Of course, but let's take the example of Blur. Let's say the airdrop was below average. It was not the best. They sell a good product. I, for example, would still be a customer of Blur because airdrop farming was never my objective using Blur. I would still be a user of Blur. But if you had a bad product with a bad airdrop, you've instantly lost. The churn that you would get on people entering and engaging in your ecosystem would be almost 100%. No one would come back because there's nothing to see there. So you've completely lost everyone that you've worked so hard to acquire through the airdrop. So naturally right here, what we are always aiming for, if you're watching this video right here, I'm assuming you're aiming for excellence and you're aiming to launch something that has longevity and that has staying power. And this is where having a good airdrop with a good product, this is how it works. Now, something very interesting, and I'm gonna be making in my next video, is going to be about this, which is kicking off the airdrop, as you can imagine, is the marketing that comes behind it is hard, costly, and the execution is quite heavy. And what we're seeing brands do is the evolution of a brand is they are starting off with an NFT collection and then moving and evolving into an airdrop campaign. And this is how they have the ability to build that cocoon of people and continue building. And this is actually going to be my next video that I'm going to be showing you. But this right here is proving to be a successful model that a lot of the founders here that I'm speaking with that probably don't have the hundreds of thousands of dollars in marketing or the ability to create liquidity pools for their token worth millions of dollars. This is seeming to be one of the potential paths forward for you as founders. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, this is the new acquisition strategy that we are seeing in Web3, airdrop campaigns. Is the meta here to stay? I believe so. Is it going to evolve from what it is today? Absolutely. If you told me 6 months ago that airdrop marketing would be the main marketing driver for a lot of the projects launching in 2024, I would not have believed you. But as it turns out, airdrop farming is working. There's an example right here of a brand, just to give you some statistics, Jupiter. If you don't know, Jupiter is a trading tool for Solana coins. And they did an airdrop, the Solana wallets that were eligible for the airdrop. And they distributed 40% of all their tokens to the community through the airdrop. And the first day of the airdrop, Jupiter had 187,000 daily users. Today, as we speak, they have 196,000 daily users, which is a 4% increase. So what ended up happening after the airdrop, they were able to acquire all these customers, and these customers ended up staying because Jupiter had this incredible product. So this right here is an example, a recent example of a brand successfully rolling out an airdrop campaign to acquire customers and build longevity. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this video was helpful to you. My name is Leon Aboud, and I can't wait to see you in the very next video. Cheers.